Hello and welcome to the midweek mini lesson. We are in Philippians 2. We're going to start in verse 12 and go to verse 18. It's actually kind of short today. So here we go. I'm going to read the whole thing and then we'll kind of talk about it. Therefore, my dear friends, as you have always obeyed, not only in my presence, but now much more in my absence, continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. For it is God who works in you to will and to act according to his good purpose. Do everything without complaining or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure children of God, without fault in a crooked and depraved generation, in which you shine like stars in the universe, as you hold out the word of life, in order that I may boast on the day of Christ that I did not run or labor for nothing. But even if I am being poured out like a drink offering on the sacrifice and service coming from your faith, I am glad and rejoice with all of you, so you too should be glad and rejoice with me. So there's a couple of things to kind of point out here. The first one is it says in verse 12, therefore, my dear friends, as you have always obeyed, not only in my presence, but also in my absence, to continue to work out your salvation in fear and trembling. A lot of people take this verse to mean something to the effect of you have to do works in order to be saved. That's not what it's saying. It's saying to continually put yourself in the spot of being saved. If you remember the message that we just did this past week, I actually mentioned in there that you have to remember that if Jesus is Lord for you, that is you surrendering everything that you are to Him. And every now and then you reach out for that part of you that you want to take back. Jesus has it; you gave it to Him, but every now and then you reach out for it. And that working out your salvation is remembering that you gave it up, and that you have to pull your hand back and say, you know what, I can't even reach for that. Jesus, you're Lord. You have it all. I don't even want it back. Um, you won't be able to pull things away from him, but that doesn't mean that your intentions aren't to. So that working out, to me, the working out your salvation with fear and trembling is a reminder it's a reminder of what you gave up, and to make sure that you don't try to take it back. It also goes on in verse 14. It says, do everything without complaining or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure children of God, without fault in a crooked and depraved generation. So what it's saying here is to make sure that what you're doing, you do so without complaining or arguing. So there are things that are put in place that you are not to complain about. For example, God's word. You're not supposed to complain about that. It's not something that you can argue about, because what God's word says is what God's word says, and you have to believe it or not. So there's nothing really to that. Now, in back then, we actually had a different type of government system, in which you had like this hierarchy of an emperor, and then it kind of delegated itself down, where the emperor had sole ownership, if you want to say it that way, of the government and of the people. Where here in America, we are different, in which the people are actually the ones in charge. A lot of people today think the government's in charge, but we are actually the ones in charge. So it's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So if that's the case, then these governing things that they're talking about, as far as I put it down, as far as doing everything without complaining or arguing, has less to do governmentally as it would have back in that time. So a lot of people look at like Romans 13 and think of it in that way, and it's different here. We can talk about that later. So, but anyway, so that's what it's talking about here: to do everything without complaining or arguing. And it says specifically to do that so that you will become blameless and pure, which is amazing, right? It says if you do things without grumbling, without complaining, without arguing, that you become blameless and pure in the eyes of other people. They see you as somebody that has not tried to go against the flow, I guess would be a way to say that, and that you've actually adhered to what you say you believe. So it was just an interesting quick read there to go through. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.